So the customer relationship has changed a lot over the last 5 years, at least with Entergy, because we used to talk several years ago, and it's probably more than the last 5 years, over the last 10, we talked about customers as ratepayers rather than customers. So about 10 years ago, we stopped and said, okay, who are our stakeholders? How are we going to talk about them? And we have gone back and rethought how we're addressing them. So now we call them customers, and they're at the top of our list of stakeholders. Includes employees, communities, and investors, but there's nothing that we can do that we're not thinking about with customers at the front of our minds.
This is really a similar story across multiple utilities that we talk with, right? I mean, the role of the customer is getting much more amplified right now. Customers are really part of the fabric of the utility. It's no longer a kind of a one-way communication, if you will. Customers are much more active. They require and expect more information from the utility and to really be a participant in the energy equation, if you will. Similar to how they deal with their bank or their phone company. So that's a major shift that we've seen over the past few years, and we believe that's going to continue to happen as customers take a more active part in how they use energy. So with a lot of the programs that utilities are deploying right now that are really focused on the customer, it is a significant shift than 5 or 10 years ago.
Customer expectations is at the top of all of this, right? So now we're hearing from customers in multiple ways. You're not just hearing from them by phone. They're not just going online. They're also hearing from them in digital media or social media. There are also digital platforms that they're contacting us on. So the whole customer engagement and customer experience is now looking at things that we never had to worry about before. They talked about, when they talked about us if they got their bill. Now they're talking about us in terms of how you just described it. So what is my energy usage like? What can I do to be greener? What are my expectations as a customer for my utility to either be more efficient or what is your sustainability goals? All of those things are communications from the customer that we never had before. 10 years ago, this is not something that they were talking about, and certainly not something that we were engaged in. And now we're always engaged with all of these sort of customer information, customer communication, customers' expectations. Well, we have to serve low-income households, partly because of the makeup of New Orleans. Louisiana, for example, 1 in 4 residents in the state of Louisiana are at or below the poverty level. So we have a challenge in Louisiana and in New Orleans in particular of working with all of our customers and whether they're low income or not. So it's an affordability question, and it's also a resiliency question. So we're having to work with our regulator very directly to figure out what opportunities. Is it through LIHEAP, the Low Income Heating Energy Assistance Program? Is it through other programs that are available for customers? During COVID, we had an enormous challenge with customers because we're a service and industry city for the most part. And so these were customers that no longer had, customers coming in. They weren't hotels, and events like this were not around. So if you didn't have the tourism industry that feeds the customers and literally feeds the people in those, in their homes, how do you manage those bills? So it's up to us to help them and link them to programs, and it's also up to us to work with our regulator to make sure that all customers are made aware of these programs that exist to benefit them.
Entergy is certainly known in the industry for its focus on serving underserved communities. The utility industry in general has really taken some pretty interesting and innovative approaches to serving underserved communities, including things like community solar, right, which really address the underserved communities where you don't have to live in a single-family dwelling, you can be participating in a community solar program if you live in a residential building, where you can take advantage of community solar programs that have potentially financial benefits. Another innovation that we've seen with utilities is really providing wider access to the internet and Wi-Fi by renting their poles and their conduit to telecom companies, so that they're able to have a broader network and serve the underserved communities, similar to leveraging the AMI network to provide Wi-Fi hotspots. So those are very innovative programs that 5 or 10 years ago were really not on the table, and we're seeing more and more utilities now look for ways to provide better service to the community.
In New Orleans, we have something called Entergy Smart. And so it's a program that goes into a customer's home. They call us, we work with that particular customer, they get an energy audit, and we come in and provide products that will help them keep their energy bill down. And it's free to the customer. So all they have to do is contact us. It's a program like that we've done in collaboration with our regulator to ensure that low-income customers have access to that. The housing stock in New Orleans is also very challenging because it's older housing stock. So, and if it's energy inefficient, what we can go in and do is help them keep their light bills down, because they want the basic services. They want to be able to heat and cool their home with the extreme weather that's occurring. And so it's up to us to figure out how to help them do that.
That's great.